So for the last 2 days or so, the Assassin's Creed community has been on fire. On Reddit, Twitter and my own comment section, I've seen a ton of people talking about why the next AC is going to take place in China, or supposedly at least. And with the AC community being notoriously reactionary, not you though, you are perfect. Please leave a like. Not many people are really looking into the facts, and a lot of important information is being ignored. I thought I'd take a look into this for myself today and give my thoughts on the situation. So without delaying any further, here's why people think we're getting a game set in China or Japan. I'm not an expert on East Asian architecture or weaponry or anything like that, but from what I've heard, the architecture, weapons and general art style lean much more towards China. It all starts with these 2 pieces of art, and if you've been in the AC community for a few years, you know this art is a few years old. It blew up a few weeks after Origins came out back in 2017, and a similar reaction happened then. As you can see, the art is definitely Assassin's Creed related. The men are wearing robes. You can't really see them too well, but they are fitting of Assassin's Creed. In the second image, you can also see a red sash on the robe of one of these men, as many assassins have had. You can also see the insignia on his back, so it's pretty clear that this is Assassin's Creed. Where this was originally found was on John Bignon's ArtStation page. Oh, guess I've said that right. John works for Ubisoft Montreal as a concept artist, and as I said, this was originally released in 2017, and it's been garnering a lot of attention again recently. That's most likely due to the announcement of the Assassin's Creed Dynasty comic set in 8th century China during the Tang Dynasty. So to cut to the point, is this the next game? I don't think so. I definitely think we will see a game set in China at some point. It feels inevitable, but I don't feel any of this indicates we'll see it as the next game. Let's talk about the art first. The timing would make sense. I'd expect the first next-gen game to be using a totally new engine, or at the very least a totally reworked Anvil Next 2.0, which I kinda doubt. So with that, as well as working with new, more advanced hardware, this game is going to need 4 years at least. It'd be quite nice to see Ubisoft put 5 years into a game, but 4 seems likely, and if the game is released in 2021, it'd have been around 4 since the art was posted. And now, my question for you, why would this be posted? For the record, John Bignon has been in the industry for almost 2 decades. If he leaked a game of this size 4 years early under his own name, not only would that be stupid and something he'd know is stupid, but he'd be out of a job. That's the type of thing people are put on blacklists for, and I've had a look at his LinkedIn, and he's still at Ubisoft Montreal to this day. So at the end of the day, he is just a concept artist, and many concepts stay as just that. My guess as to what happened is Ubisoft were going through the conception phase for one of their games, asked for some art, Ubisoft chose a different setting, then John decided to just throw it up on ArtStation because at that point, why not? A lot of people have been referring back to these 2 pieces of art recently, which are 2 pieces of concept art I used far too many times back in the Ragnarok days, and many people are saying, well, this art for Valhalla was released, so how is this game any different? The thing is, I don't think this is art for Valhalla. Michel Nucera, another name I'm probably fucking up, my apologies, released this on his ArtStation, and people ran with it from there. Michel worked at Ubisoft Milan for a few years and now works at Sumo Digital. Milan aren't a supporting studio on Valhalla, and he isn't credited for any Valhalla concepting as he is with other Ubisoft games. The art itself also doesn't feel very much like Assassin's Creed. In the first one, this ship is arriving in what looks to be a town in maybe Norway or Denmark, and a lot of concept art are the protagonist looking over the setting of the game. But as we know, the game is primarily set in England, so it'd make more sense to show that instead. The other piece is this total hellscape that doesn't fit at all. Like, usually the concepts have an assassin in them robed up, there's usually an insignia somewhere, and there isn't here, and also one of the pieces of art has his own watermark. It says the art is personal work, and even if you do want to say that's a cover-up, that's not being done for the China art. Now let's talk about the other reason why a lot of people are sure this will happen, Assassin's Creed Dynasty. Dynasty is a comic that was announced a few days ago, and as I said in the intro, it's set in the Tang Dynasty in the 8th century. I hate to burst everybody's bubble, I'd enjoy games set in China as well, but this means nothing. Assassin's Creed have been making comics for years, and they've never been preludes or teasers for future settings ever. We've seen 19th century Libya, the Inca Empire, the Salem witch trials, settings that have never been in games, and these were in comics over 4 years ago. It simply wouldn't make any sense to release a comic set in China over a year before the game is released and long before it's announced. Transmedia just hasn't worked like that. And as a side note, it would be terrible if Ubisoft made a China game that wasn't a classic AC experience centered around Xiaojun. That's what old AC fans have wanted for years, and there's been a recent resurgence in the demand for a Xiaojun game, which is just excellent. As I said in the intro, I'm certain China's going to happen, but this concept and this comic aren't reasons to believe that will happen anytime soon. I hate to stomp on this rare moment of bliss in the AC community, but I need content, so what can you do? Either way, that's all for today. We had a video out yesterday as well. That's a weird one for me. That's about all these new charisma choices in Valhalla, and if you want to see that, a card will pop up at the end, but for the time being, that's all from me. If you enjoyed, maybe leave a like, and if you didn't, maybe let me know why. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time.